Hi, in this video we will see how to configure Spring Beans using annotations. So for this we will see one code sample. So we have a project called car demo. In this project we have a package com.training.automobile. Inside this package we have two Java beans. One is car and another is music system. So these two Java classes. See, this car class is having one instance variable and that is of type music system. Okay, so it has a constructor. So currently this project is configured. These Java beans are configured using XML. Okay, so I will show you that XML based configuration. So here is the XML configuration. So here, so we have at line number 9 we have configured the music system using the bean tag. At line number 11 we have configured the car Java bean using the bean tag, and we are also using constructor -arg. This is actually used to configure the dependency injection, constructor based injection. So when a car class constructor is invoked, this music system bean will be injected, will be passed as the argument. Okay, so this is how we have configured these beans using XML. So now we are going to convert this configuration into annotation based configuration. So what is the advantage of using annotation? So using annotation we don't need to have XML. We don't need to configure using XML, but we need a XML still for a minimal purpose. The purpose is whenever we use annotations for configuration, Spring container actually search for files having component annotation or any annotation such as service or repository annotation. So if it finds that type of annotation, then Spring container will create the object. Okay. So instead of being tag, we use the annotation like component annotation. We use it. Okay. So for that purpose, the XML file should contain one tag that is called component scan. So that annotation that tag is required in the XML file. Okay. So let us remove these configurations from XML. Instead use the annotation for this configuration. So to configure the beans, we use annotation instead of the XML. So what we do, we remove these tags here. Okay. So instead we need to use one tag called context component scan. We have to mention the base package. So here we mentioned the base package as com.training.automobile, because under this package we have these two beans, car bean and music system bean. So this is the first step we need to do. Next step is we have to use the component annotation. Okay, so in the car class let us use the component annotation. So we have to use this way: component. Okay, we have to give, you can give the name also. That is actually whenever the car object is created, the name, there we need a name to the instance. So we can use that component annotation, and we can give the this value name for that bean. So we can give any name. I give Honda. Okay, next thing is, um, in the car class, right, we have the music system. We have an instance variable called ms. It is of type music system. So we need actually, we need to inject the music system object reference to this variable. That is called dependency injection. So previously we used the XML for doing that. Instead we can use an annotation called auto wired. Okay, so by using auto wired annotation, the Spring, by seeing this auto wired annotation, Spring will inject the music system object instance to this variable. Okay, now inside this class we have here, we can remove the constructor also, otherwise you can leave as it is. So we have at line number 11 21, we have at line number 21, there is a method, play music method. Inside the play music method, we are calling the play music method of the music system. So music system class is having one method called play music. Inside that method we are printing playing music. Okay, so now the thing is, the car class has one instance variable which is of type music system, and we use auto annotation to inject that music system object to that variable. Now we also need a component annotation at the before the music system, before the class music system. So we write that one. Okay. So now what will happen is by seeing these annotations, Spring container will create the object instances, music system object instance as well as the car object instance. Right. So now the next step is you have to see the main class. So let us see the main class. So inside the main class, what we have done is inside the main method, we create the Spring container object at line number 11. We are passing the application context.xml as the argument to the constructor. Next thing is we call the we after creating the this one Spring container object, we call the getBean method and we pass Honda. Honda is the name we have given to the car object instance. You can see that in the car class, right? We are using a component annotation. Inside the component annotation, we are passing the value Honda. So this is actually we are using this one we are using here. So getBean method we are passing Honda, then car dot class. This method will return you the car object instance. Then we can call the play music method. Okay. So this is how we use the annotations for configuring Spring Beans in Spring Framework projects. Okay. So let us run this code and see the output now. So we are getting one error message. So let us see what is the issue with this. So we are getting the error message as bean creation exception, error creating bean with the name Honda defined in file car.class, instantiation of bean failed. Nested exception is bean instantiation exception, failed to instantiate, no default constructor. The issue is Spring container requires a default constructor, but normally if you don't provide a default constructor, Spring Java actually introduce a default constructor. If you don't use any default constructor, Java automatically, the Java compiler automatically include a default constructor. But if your class is already having a parameterized constructor, then the Java will not include the default constructor. So in that case, what we need to do is we have to include a default constructor. So let us include the default constructor. Okay, right now we have included the default constructor. Okay, so now we can run the code again and see the output now. See, the playing music text is printed. It is printed because inside the main method we are calling play music method of the car object. So inside the play music method of the car object, we are calling the play music method of the music system object. So inside the music system object, we simply print playing music. Okay, so this is the example for configuring Java beans, Spring Beans using annotation. So we have used annotations such as component annotation, auto-wired annotation here. So by seeing the component annotation, Spring container will create the object of that class. By seeing the auto-wired annotation, Spring container will inject the object Java bean to the variable instance variable. Okay.